Have you ever sat at a dinner party and felt completely out of place because everyone around you seems to have more money than you could ever imagine? Last month, I found myself in exactly that situation. Across the table, a man in his mid 50s casually mentions that his neighbor just retired with $4 million. Then his brother in law chimes in, I retired too, 3.2 million. And someone else casually drops that their aunt has 2.8 million. I sat there, stunned. My brain couldn't process it. I thought, either I've stumbled into the most statistically impossible dinner party in history, or everyone here is somehow misremembering their math. Here's the truth. Only 3.2% of American retirees actually have $1 million or more in retirement accounts. That means 97 out of every 100 retirees are not even close to that number. So why does it feel like everyone else has made it? Most people confuse total net worth with retirement savings, and spoiler alert, they almost always do. This video is about closing that gap between perception and reality. We'll break down where you actually stand compared to most Americans, why the numbers you see in headlines can be misleading, what it really takes to reach that elusive seven-figure milestone, and more importantly, we'll dive into why your mindset matters even more than the math. By the end of this video, you'll see the truth about retirement savings and why being in the top 3% is rare but possible. Part 1. Opening story. The Millionaire Dinner Party. Effect, picture this. A dinner party last month. You're sitting with friends and acquaintances, enjoying casual conversation. Across from you, a man in his mid-50s casually drops that his neighbor just retired with $4 million. Before you can process that, his brother-in-law chimes in, I just retired too, 3.2 million. And then someone else mentions their aunt, 2.8 million. You sit there, stunned, heart racing. You think, am I at the world's statistically most improbable dinner party? Or is everyone here like wildly exaggerating? Here's the real truth. Only 3.2% of American retirees actually have $1 million or more in retirement accounts. Not 4 million, not 3 million, but 1 million. That means 97 out of every 100 retirees don't even reach this milestone. So why does it feel like everyone around you has made it? Most likely, they're confusing net worth with retirement accounts, and spoiler alert, they absolutely are. This is the gap I want to talk about. The gap between what you think is normal for retirement savings and what's actually normal. If you're sitting on $600,000, $800,000, or even $950,000, it's natural to feel behind. You read headlines about people retiring with millions and wonder, why haven't I made it? But here's the thing, that anxiety is based on a completely distorted view of reality. And I'm going to show you exactly where you actually stand, why the numbers you see everywhere are misleading, what it really takes to hit seven figures. And here's the kicker, the psychology matters even more than the math. Now imagine American retirement savings as a giant pyramid. At the very top, there's a tiny platform where the $1 million and above crowd stands. That platform holds just 3.2% of all retirees. Small, exclusive, and far harder to reach than most people think. The problem? Financial media shines a spotlight on that tiny platform. Every article, every headline, every retirement success story focuses on those at the top. So when you look up from wherever you are on the pyramid, all you see is that lit-up platform. You don't see the other 97% below. You don't see the median retiree at $200,000, and you assume everyone is at the top. This distortion has real consequences. When researchers ask Americans how much they think they need to retire comfortably, the average answer is $1.5 million. Not because of careful calculation, but because of constant exposure to headlines about $3 million and $5 million retirements. That figure became the perceived baseline, and now people with $1 million saved feel anxious, even though they are already among the very top. The reality, The median retirement savings for households aged 65 to 74 is around $200,000. Not $2 million, $200,000. For households 75 and older, it drops even further, about $130,000. These are the numbers that actually reflect where most people are. Part 2. The average versus median trap, and the real road to $1 million. By now, you might be thinking, wait, I've seen reports that the average retirement balance is much higher than $200,000. And you're right. The average comes in around $669,000. Sounds good, right? But here's the problem. Averages lie. They get pulled up by a small group of extremely wealthy households at the very top. Imagine this. 9 people each have $100,000 and one person has $10 million. The average suddenly jumps to over $1 million. The average gives no sense of what's typical. The median is the reality. It's what most people actually have. And if you have $1 million or more, you're not just above average, you're in a completely different league. You have 5 times the median retirement savings in this country. 5 times. Yet, many million-dollar savers still feel like they're behind. Why? Because they are measuring themselves against the wrong benchmark. So how do people actually reach that top platform? It's not just about saving more money, it's about who you are and how the system is structured. Income is the biggest factor, according to the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances. Higher income households average $769,000 saved for retirement. Middle income households average $79,500. That's not just a gap, that's a canyon. It's not that middle income earners are bad at saving, it's that percentage-based savings math is brutal. Save 15% of $50,000 per year to $7,500 per year. Save 15% of $200,000 per year to $30,000 per year. Same discipline, 4 times the result. The system rewards high earners exponentially. Education matters too. Households with a college degree have roughly 3 times more retirement savings than those with only a high school diploma. Median for college grads, $141,700. Median for high school only, $44,000. And before you assume it's about working harder, it's not. College grads have access to higher-paying jobs, often with better benefits like employer-matched 401ks. The game is tilted from the start. Now, let's say you did everything right. High income, college degree, maxed out 401k contributions every year. How long would it take to hit $1 million? According to Fidelity, the average 401k millionaire took 27 years to reach $1 million. 27 years, that's not a sprint, not even a marathon. That's a career-long endurance test. You had to save consistently through the dot-com crash of 2000, the financial crisis of 2008, COVID-19, and 2020. You had to resist pulling money out when life got expensive. Stay disciplined when every instinct told you to spend. And even with all that, you still needed the market to cooperate. Timing and luck matter. Sequence of returns risk is real. The truth is, when someone says, I have $1 million saved, what they're really saying is, high income. Likely a college degree, 27 years of discipline. Favorable market timing. That combination is rare. It's a statistical outlier, not the norm. Even though millions of Americans might think $1 million retirement is achievable in reality, as of 2024, roughly 497,000 Americans have $1 million or more in their 401ks. Nearly 399,000 people have at least that in their IRAs. Allowing for overlap, there are roughly 600,000 to 700,000 people in the U.S. with $1 million plus in retirement accounts. Sounds like a lot? Consider this. There are about 130 million households in the U.S. That's about half of 1% of households. And yet, the financial media talks about million-dollar retirements like they're the default. Like if you're not there, you've failed. Part 3. What $1 million dollars really means in retirement and how to make it work, let's break it down. Imagine you retire at 65 with exactly $1 million. Dollars. Following the 4% rule, the standard safe withdrawal rate, that gives you $40,000 a year from your investments. Now add Social Security. The average benefit in 2026 is about $1,900 per month, or $22,800 per year. That means your total retirement income would be about $62,800 per year. Not extravagant, but certainly comfortable. For a single retiree, that's a solid middle-class lifestyle. For a couple, if both receive Social Security, combined income rises to around $85,000 per year, enough for a comfortable life without financial stress. But here's the catch. That math assumes you manage your money correctly. You can't panic sell during a market crash. You can't over-withdraw in the early years. You need a tax strategy. This is where many people stumble. Let's compare two hypothetical retirees. Retiree A, $1.2 million, dollars, all in a traditional 401k. Every dollar withdrawn is taxed as ordinary income. Retiree B, $900,000 total, $600,000 in a traditional 401k, $300,000 in a Roth IRA, tax-free. Retiree B also has a withdrawal strategy. Take from the traditional account up to the top of the 12% tax bracket, then supplement from the Roth. Who ends up with more spendable income over 20 years? Surprisingly, retiree B, even with less total money. The lesson here, structure beats size. Building wealth is hard, but using it wisely is even harder. And nobody talks about it because optimization isn't sexy, but it makes the difference between a comfortable retirement and a stressful one. Here's another example of why timing and strategy matter. Sequence of returns risk. Retire in January 2008 with $1 million right before the financial crisis. Market drops 40%, your account is now $600,000, but you still need $40,000 to live on. Pulling money from a declining account locks in losses. Recovery is much harder. Retire in January 2009 with $1 million after the crash. Same starting balance, but every year after sees growth. Completely different outcome. You can't control the market or inflation, but you can control how you structure accounts, sequence withdrawals, and manage taxes. That's where the real advantage lies. Here's the takeaway. Hitting $1 million is not the finish line. It's the start of a different race. Stop comparing yourself to the outliers. The $3 million or $4 million stories are exceptions, not the benchmark. Focus on structure, not just size. A well-managed $800,000 portfolio can outperform a poorly managed $1.2 million portfolio. Understand that after you build wealth, optimization is everything. Sequence of returns, taxes, withdrawal rates, and longevity planning. And remember, even boring, consistent investing in index funds beats chasing hot stocks, crypto memes, or day trading. Lazy, disciplined investing over decades creates more wealth than luck or hype. So the next time someone brags about their neighbor retiring with $4 million, just smile and nod. Either they're exaggerating, confused, or that neighbor is in the top 0.5% of all retirees. And guess what? You don't need to be in the top 0.5% to retire comfortably. Part 4, Expanded. Wrapping up. Context, celebration, and realistic perspective. Here's a truth that rarely gets told. Most people retire with far less than you think. The financial media thrives on showcasing extreme cases because it drives clicks and headlines. Millions of Americans read about million-dollar retirements and feel like failures, but the reality is very different. If you're in the top 10%, top 5%, or especially the top 3% of retirement savers, you've accomplished something extraordinary. Think about it. 3 out of every 100 retirees in the US have $1 million in their retirement accounts. You've done something 97% of people haven't. That's not luck. It's discipline, strategy, and consistency. and that deserves recognition. Let's put it in perspective. $200,000 saved. This is the median. Half of retirees have less, half have more. This is the baseline. $400,000 saved, twice the median, already ahead of most Americans. $600,000 saved, 3 times the median, placing you firmly in the top tier. $1 million saved. Congratulations, you're in the top 3%, a level that most people can only dream of. Even if you haven't reached the $1 million milestone, you're likely far ahead of the average retiree. The psychological trap. Here's the catch. Humans have a natural tendency to shift the goalposts once we achieve something. After you hit $1 million, your mind starts thinking, what if I need $1.5 million? What if inflation skyrockets? What if I live to 95? This is the hedonic treadmill applied to retirement savings. No matter how much you save, your brain nudges you to feel like it's not enough. And that's why many million-dollar savers still feel anxious, even when they are objectively doing better than almost everyone else. Structure beats size. Here's where strategy becomes crucial. Building wealth is hard, but using it wisely is even harder. A few key principles separate a comfortable retirement from a stressful one. Sequence of returns risk when you retire matters. Retiring just before a market crash can devastate your portfolio if withdrawals continue. Timing and planning are essential. Tax strategy, knowing when to withdraw from traditional 401ks versus Roth accounts, can dramatically impact your spendable income. Withdrawal strategy, pulling too much too early can turn a $1 million portfolio into a struggling account over time. Asset allocation, balancing growth and safety ensures you don't miss out on gains or overexpose yourself to risk. A well-structured $800,000 portfolio can outperform a poorly managed $1.2 million portfolio simply because it's optimized for taxes, withdrawals, and market fluctuations. Celebrate the wins. It's also important to celebrate progress, not just milestones. Many people get trapped comparing themselves to the top 0.5% or the $4 million neighbor, forgetting how far they've come. Consistent investing over decades. Staying disciplined through market crashes and personal life events. Leveraging employer benefits like matching 401ks. Avoiding high-risk speculation in favor of steady, index-based investing. This combination creates real wealth. Not luck, not crypto memes, not day trading, just patient, boring, consistent investing. Real-life perspective. Imagine two retirees. Retiree A has $1.2 million but has no plan. Every withdrawal is taxed heavily, they panic during market dips, and they over-withdraw early. Stress dominates their retirement. Retiree B has $900,000 but plans carefully. Withdrawals are strategic, taxes are minimized, and portfolio risk is balanced. Retiree B ends up with more spendable income and peace of mind over the same period. The lesson is clear: structure beats size. The game doesn't end when you hit $1 million, it just changes. Managing risk, taxes, and withdrawals is now the priority. The takeaway: the next time someone brags about retiring with $4 million, smile. Maybe they're exaggerating, maybe they got lucky, or maybe they're truly in the top 0.5% of all retirees. But here's what really matters. You don't need to be a statistical outlier to retire comfortably. The measure of success isn't the headlines, it's how far you've come compared to the median retiree, how effectively you manage what you have, your ability to maintain financial peace and security. Hitting $1 million isn't the finish line, it's a milestone in a longer journey. If you follow the path of consistency, strategy, and patience, you're already ahead of almost everyone. And that in itself is something worth celebrating. So, let's bring it all together. Here's the truth. Most people retire with far less than you think, and that's completely normal. The media loves to highlight the million-dollar retirees because it gets clicks, but those stories are the exception, not the rule. If you are in the top 10%, top 5%, or especially the top 3% of retirement savers, you've done something extraordinary. You've achieved what 97% of Americans haven't, and that deserves recognition. Even if you haven't hit the $1 million milestone yet, chances are you're far ahead of the average retiree, and that's something to be proud of. Remember, hitting $1 million is not the finish line. It's a milestone in a longer journey. The real game begins after you've built wealth. Now it's about strategy, optimization, and making your money work for you. Sequence of returns, tax planning, withdrawal strategies, and asset allocation. These are the tools that turn a good retirement into a great one. Stop comparing yourself to the outliers, the neighbor with $4 million. Smile and nod. Their story doesn't define your success. Your success is defined by how far you've come compared to the median, how wisely you manage what you have, your ability to live a comfortable, secure, and fulfilling retirement. And remember this: consistency, patience, and boring, disciplined investing will always beat luck, hype, or speculation. The journey to retirement is long, but every smart step you take today compounds into peace of mind tomorrow. So take a deep breath, celebrate what you've accomplished, and focus on making the most of your money, not just chasing a headline. You're already ahead of almost everyone, and that's a victory worth recognizing.